So you could say, you can talk all day long about fashion. You can talk all day long about fashion. This is very common in English, this phrase, all day long. It means quite literally that you could talk all day long about something, either because you're passionate about it or, you could just go on and on. I could talk all day long about how important it is for you to learn English. You could talk all day long about your husband because you love him so much. You think he's wonderful. It doesn't have to be something positive. It could be something negative. I might say to you, you could talk all day long about your boss. You just can't stand your boss. You hate your boss. Very, very commonly used in English. Oh, this is true. Torn jeans are fashionable again. Torn jeans are fashionable again. So jeans that are torn are jeans that have rips in them. So right now, jeans have rips in the pocket area or around the thigh area. So in the 90s, it was really common for people to have jeans that were ripped in the knees so that you could see a bit of your knees. And now they're in fashion again, and people rip either around the pockets or around the thighs, usually in shorts. So they're fashionable again. Torn jeans. That doesn't sound bad. So you might say to me, I'm so tired and I have to go for dinner with my family tonight after work. And I might say to you, that doesn't sound bad. I'd love to go for dinner with my family. You're describing a situation to me that you perceive as negative, but to me, it doesn't sound negative. I say that doesn't sound bad. This is great. He had fallen in love with her immediately. Now, we might say this is more common. He fell in love with her immediately. He fell in love with her immediately. That means the same thing. So he met her and he fell in love with her right in that moment. A lot of people say, what's that phrase? It was love at first sight. It was love at first sight. So when you first saw this person, you were in love. Show me where you live. This is really common. So maybe a coworker is giving you a ride home from work and they're driving and they say, show me where you live. Which house is yours? Or maybe you're both on the bus and you can see your house from the bus and your friend is curious. And they say, show me where you live. Which house is yours? I never expected to meet her in a place like that. I never expected to meet her in a place like that. So this is also really common. People talk about where they met their partners a lot. And that's a really common question people always ask when they meet partners. Oh, you guys have been married for 20 years. Where did you meet? And maybe you met your husband, I don't know, at the bus stop. You say, I never expected to meet him in a place like that. You never expected to meet him at the bus stop. So this is really common, and common at parties. People are always so curious at parties when they meet people. Oh, where are you from? What do you do for work? Oh, you're married. Where did you meet your husband? Things like that. Are you going to invite him to your party? So the first thing I think of is maybe two women, and one's going to have a party, 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 and one's going to have a party. And, one of the women says, oh, Johnny's really cute. He's good looking. Are you going to invite him to your party? Very common. We say this all the time when we're talking about parties and the invite list. The flat they were staying in was very small. The flat they were staying in was very small. So this is also really common, and we might say apartment. It depends what part of the world you're in. Some people say flat, some people say apartment. We tend to use apartment in North America, whereas flat is used in Europe. And it's just talking about the size of the place. Okay, we're going to pause for a minute for noise. I will take care of the accommodations. I will take care of the accommodations. Accommodations. So accommodations are, where you're going to sleep, usually when you're on vacation or going on a business trip. It doesn't really refer to you living at home, because when you live at home, you sleep at home. So when someone says, I will take care of the accommodations, that means they're going to pay for the accommodations. So, for example, if you and I are going on a trip to Greece, and I say to you, I will take care of the accommodations, that means that I'm going to pay for our hotel or our Airbnb, our Airbnb, wherever it is we're going to sleep, or a hostel. His story sounds true. His story sounds true. So this makes me think of women. Women that are a bit insecure with their partners. Maybe my best friend says to me, my boyfriend got home so late last night. He got home at 12 a.m. and I just don't know why he was out so late. I think he's cheating on me. And I say to you, well, what's his story? And she says, well, he went out with his best friend for drinks, and they drank too much and stayed out late. And I say to you, his story sounds true. Meaning, that's probably what happened. They had too much to drink and lost track of time and stayed out late. And then I might say to you, what is the problem with that? What's wrong with him staying out late? What is the problem? I might say to you, you might say to me, I don't like the way I speak English. And I'll say to you, what is the problem? Or, what's the problem? And you might say, I don't like the way I pronounce certain words. And I'll say to you, then you've got to practice. This carpet is expensive. This carpet is expensive. Okay, I feel like this was so common in the 80s and 90s. You show up as a guest to someone's home. Usually family is when they say this, but maybe I show up to my grandparents' home and they say, take off your shoes. I don't want you to get the carpet dirty. This carpet is expensive. So maybe I show up to my grandparents' house and my grandma opens the door and she says, take off your shoes. This carpet is expensive. Which means, the carpet is expensive and they don't want it to get dirty. So take off your shoes. He bowed politely and introduced himself. He bowed politely and introduced himself to us. So this isn't terribly common that someone bows, but I shouldn't say that. It really depends on the culture. In my culture, in Canada, we don't bow to people. I think if the Queen were to come, yes, we would bow to her. But I know in Asian cultures, it is more common to bow to people when you're greeting someone. So this would apply here. This would apply in Asia for sure. He bowed politely and introduced himself to us. So maybe he bowed and he said, hello, my name is James. It's nice to meet you. I got up at 6:30 this morning. I got up at 6:30 this morning. So that means that you got out of bed at 6:30 or you woke up at 6:30. We use both interchangeably. So when someone says I got up at 6:30, it might mean that they woke up at that time, but it also might mean that they had woken up at say 6 and they didn't get out of bed until 6:30. If that's the case, people will usually specify. For example, I might say to you, I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning, but I laid in bed, read my book, and then I got up at 6:30. Many websites update their content on a daily basis. So this is true, and we say this a lot because we're always talking about websites. We update our Facebook content a lot. Maybe you change your pictures that you share, or you change your status. In terms of websites, when we're talking about websites, we're talking about the text that's written on the page. So people update that a lot. They change it to move with the times. I am willing to help you. So someone might say I am, or they might say I'm willing to help you. Maybe you come to me and say, I need help with this project. You know, it's due on Friday and today is Thursday and it's not ready. You know, do you mind looking at it and helping me? And I say, yes, I'm willing to help you. The news finally reached me last night. The news finally reached me last night. So this is really common. When we're talking about the news, we may not just be talking about, you know, the news on TV that reports what's happening in your city daily. But we might also be talking about a different type of news. For example, maybe our friend was pregnant and she had her baby last week. And so that's news. Everybody's talking about it, you know. Alice had her baby. She had it last week. Oh, we're so excited. And maybe I say to you, hey, did you hear that Alice had her baby? It's a girl. And you say to me, yes, the news finally reached me last night. So that means you finally heard about it last night.